live on, of course, Jamaicans.com. I'm giving you a few seconds, giving my people a few seconds to come right on. So let me also, while I'm doing that, let me just go live and live on Jamaicans.com as well. I mean, on my Instagram page, rather. I am on Jamaicans.com. Give me 1 second. I'm just setting up my Instagram. How are you guys doing? In the meantime, while you're coming on, just tell me where you're coming on from. I want to know. So, I want to know. Hi, I'm Jamaicans.com on Facebook right now. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Hi, Patrick. Hi, Mr. Flex. Okay, so good afternoon. Oh, Miami, Florida. Delarice Johnson. Awesome. All right, so I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter, and I'm here on Jamaicans.com Facebook page every 2 weeks, and I usually come on at 6 p.m. EDT. But of course, today I decided to come on a little earlier, and I'll tell you why it is I have come on a little earlier today. So stick with me so you can understand. So I'll tell you why I'm on a little earlier, and I'll end at 6 today. How are you, Delarice? How are you doing? I hope you all had a great week. I had a fabulous week. I had a fantastic week. And I'm so happy to be here. So happy. So this week I'm kind of just giving a review. Let me put my Instagram over that side because I think it's a little more, I have a little more light over here probably. I don't know. Can you see me well? Not sure. Okay, right. So on this week, I just pretty much want to just say a little thing, review of what happened last week. Last week was so exciting for me. Really exciting. I had my conference, the Entrepreneurial EU virtual conference, virtual SME conference and expo. So that started on Monday and it ended on Friday. No, on Thursday rather. And that was so amazing because over those 4 days, I had brought on 18 speakers in all different subject areas, they're experts in their areas, over 4 different countries. So we had represented Jamaica, the USA, Singapore, and Australia. So over these 4 days, all these speakers talk about a whole host of subject matters and stuff to impact my community of peak performers. So if you know, I have this show, the show, the Entrepreneurial You, the podcast, and so the conference was actually a spin-off from from the podcast, which I'm so happy about because I was able to be connected again to all these speakers, most of whom had been on my podcast or have been recorded to be on the show. Some of them have not yet been aired. So that was pretty cool for me last week. And guess what, too? Yesterday, September 30th, was observed as International Podcast Day. I don't know how many of you know that, but it was observed as International Podcast Day. And so out of that came an exciting event that I planned, I co-host with, should have had Ingrid Riley of Silicon Carib with me as co-host, but at the last minute she wasn't so well, and so she was not able to make it, unfortunately. But we had a great time because persons, podcasting is really great right now, really hot right now. But not many people are actually in Jamaica are podcasting. Some of them are consumers. A good handful are consumers of podcasts, but not many are actually aware of it or even producing it, right? So we have quite a few consumers of it, but very limited few are actually producing podcasts. So I decided to, when I realized it was International Podcast Day, I decided, what? I'm actually, hey, Suzette, I'm actually going to um, host a Jamaican meetup because all around the world, these podcasters, they were actually, doing different things, and they were streaming live, and they were doing all sorts of stuff in observation and celebration of International Podcast Day. And so I decided, what, Jamaica isn't going to be left out of the action because, as they say, if it's egg, we're in the red. And as a result of that, I decided, what? Yeah, we're going to do something. So we had our Jamaican meetup and, brought Ingrid Riley on board with me. But of course, like I said, she wasn't well, so she wasn't able to do it. So I actually hosted it solo with my fellow podcasters from Jamaica, Dr. Anissa Holmes, Yannick Grant, Paul Stennett. And they are amazing podcasters. Dr. Holmes has been podcasting for a little while, and so too Yannick. I just started in March of this year, and Paul maybe just a month or two ago. So we're relatively new also to podcasting, but we decided that, I just reached out to them and they said, yeah, let's do it. But it was the most amazing thing. It was so powerful because, and I should have brought it on to show you. And it is so interesting to recognize that the things that we focus on really are the things that happen. The meetup itself was great because all the questions that were being asked, and, there are persons there that were either, you had a spectrum of persons, some who know what a podcast is, some who are actually listening to podcasts, or, had interest in wanting to create a podcast and stuff. So you had a range of persons who were in attendance. And there was this particular guy that, Demario, he expressed interest in, because he was sharing, first he was sharing that on his way, because it was raining in Kingston yesterday, to get to Bukafila. So he was sharing that on his way to get to the event, he was actually listening to my podcast, The Entrepreneurial You, which is great. And he shared that he wants to help young people in investing. He wants to maybe they want to do a party or something to that effect, that he can lend them some money. It's pretty much like a microfinancing thing. And we thought it was so great. And so at the end of the event, Dr. Zager, Dr. Anita Holmes challenged Demario Johnson to start a podcast. So when we have our next meetup in 2018, we're looking ahead. When we have our next meetup, he should already have his podcast, and he should be able to be one of our panel members because he would have had his podcast then. So that challenge was thrown out, and many persons were asking about podcasting. Many persons were just curious and wanting to know the technical side of it, wanting to know the trend. Hi, yes, Kingston 21, yes, man. Yeah, you just throw a stone's throw. I remember when I could take literally, I think, between 45 and 50 minutes to get to Miami. I don't think they're doing that anymore these days, right? They're kind of, I guess, reserving fuel. I don't know, because it takes a little longer than 45 minutes. Hi, Dr. Will, to get to to Florida these days. But yeah, so back to where I was. So I'm actually, let me just veer over here because I am every 2 weeks I come on live on Jamaicans.com, which is a great platform created by Xavier Murphy and his team. And so I decided, okay, since I'm coming on live on Facebook, and I usually come on at 6 o'clock every 2 weeks, but there's a particular reason why I came on earlier this week, and I'll tell you all about it shortly. But I decided to, while I'm on Jamaicans.com, I'm also live on my personal Instagram page, Heneka_Watkis_.com. So I'm live both ways. And yeah, I should probably just be live on Twitter too. Next time I'll do that because I just had a conference, veering a bit. Just finished a 4-day conference, the Entrepreneurial You Virtual SME Conference and Expo. And I was live on 5 platforms all at the same time. I was live on YouTube. I was live on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as well as the virtual platform. So live on 5 platforms. So yeah, back to the whole podcasting thing. Where was I? And I don't have anybody to remind me where I was. But anyway, I was talking about the whole podcasting journey and how we met up and questions were asked and so on, and the challenge was thrown out, and we had a great day. But after it all ended, I mean, it was really a rich time. Like somebody actually said that it's the first time they've been to events at that location all the time, and that was the most meaningful for them. Since they've been because they were a fan of going to those little boutique events, kind of. And yeah, so they were actually saying it's the best event that they've ever attended there, that podcast meetup in Jamaica. And and so I'm making a point that we all can change the world. We all can do something. Don't think that you're too insignificant. Don't think that you can't make a change. You can make a change. It was my initiative. Yes, I had a team of podcasters and stuff like, and Ingrid Riley, who was supposed to be co-hosting, but I came up with the idea, Rich, pretty much, and I can create a change. Is what I'm saying. You can create a change. You can create a change positively. But the most amazing thing that came out of that uh, event had nothing to do with podcasting. And here's what happened at the end of the whole meetup and everything, because I had to rush to go to another event, which I'll tell you about or in a while, because I'm giving you my week in review. I was talking. I was there ready to pop out and stuff, and a young girl said to me, I had wait, don't go. I have a gift for you. And it was her and her, hi Tracy. It was her and her boyfriend, young, nice couple and stuff. And they were saying, oh, we have a gift for you. Like, okay, all right, thanks. I love gifts, no problem. And before I tell you what the gift was, let me backtrack a bit. So in the 4-day conference, I had one of my speakers talking about gratitude as as a strategy for employee engagement, right? Employee, albeit not everybody has employees, but that was what she spoke on, and how gratitude, people are grateful, are happier, and etc., and healthy and everything. And so she spoke about gratitude as a strategy for employee engagement. One thing she mentioned was having a gratitude journal. And yes, I'm always, writing stuff that I'm grateful for, but not in a very structured way. Probably have it like every now and again I write it, but I'm always giving thanks, always grateful, because I know the importance of gratitude. And I said to myself, I really want to get an actual journal, a gratitude journal, and start keeping track of the things that I'm grateful for and stuff. And also in that session, another presenter in the conference spoke of the law of attraction as a success strategy. Now, I know the things that you focus on are really the things that manifest in your life. So, fast forward now to yesterday, they say, oh, I have a gift for you. And she says, okay, just look at it, take it out and look at it. And I took it out, and I kid you not, it is a gratitude journal. Like, oh my gosh, it was the best gift I could ever get, and the perfect timing, the most perfect timing, the best gift ever. A gratitude journal. And as some person may look at it and so it's so simple, but it was so significant because within that short space of time, within that time between the conference, and yes, it is awesome, Dr. Wade. It's nice. Within that space of the conference, it was last week. And pretty much it was in the same week, because Saturday is still that same week. So that conference, and then outside the conference, and there was, also in the conference, the law of attraction, and about, what you think is what manifests, and so on and so forth. And when I got that gratitude journal, and they said, because she said to me, they've been following my journey, they see me on TV all the time, and they've been following my journey, and they're following the podcast, they're listeners of my podcast and stuff. I was so blown away, and I really said, I'm touched. And their response was, they knew that's exactly what I was going to say, that I am touched. And I really was touched about it. So that just put the icing on the cake for everything that happened over last week. No, so yesterday after I finished that session, because that was 2 p.m. and we're talking EDT, right? 2 p.m. in Jamaica. and I finished it at four, four, little after four ish. And I had to run, had to transition. So I transitioned straight out of my garb for the, because I was casually dressed. It's Book of Feel. It's a nice little casual environment for creativity and that kind of a thing. And I ran straight to Knutsford Court Hotel, where I was supposed to be the host of. I hosted my church's Ruby Anniversary Appreciation Award. So celebrating 40 years, and we decided to, show appreciation in the form of awards and plaques and so on, certificates, etc., to persons who have been given diligent, dedicated, faithful, long, meritorious service over all these many years. And that was like, so it's amazing how I find myself transitioning into different roles and seamlessly slipping into those roles all the time. And I don't know, I find myself so talented. And another thing, and I give thanks for that. Another thing I find too is life has a way of coming full circle. So when I first applied to University of West Indies in Jamaica, I wanted to do mass communication, media and communications. I was rejected. My application form was like, no, sorry, you're not accepted for that faculty. Okay, fine. I decided to go on to do a degree in sociology and management studies. So I did a double major. So that's what my bachelor's is in, right? And of course, I thought, when I started doing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really love sociology because I've loved it from high school, in sixth form, etc. And I thought to myself, okay, so after I'm finished, I'm going to be doing the master's and I'm going to be doing the PhD. But then no, I realized that, I realized I was never an academic. Like, no, because I got honors and stuff, I graduated with honors, upper second class with that double major. But I found that it was, the whole management studies and business and stuff I was more inclined to, from a professional level. From an intuitive level, though, I am a sociologist. I look at people, I observe society, I'm very discerning. And so even because of that, that whole level of discernment and that awareness, sometimes it gets me into problem because I tend to know, like, read people a lot and read situations and stuff. And because I am able to do that, then when my spirit tells me something, I kind of act with it. And if my spirit doesn't tell me to, kind of be chummy and stuff with you, and and you're not like with me and stuff, so yeah, it can affect relationships. So that's kind of one of the dangers of being very discerning. So it has to be managed well. All right, so back to the and it's so funny. So I say all of that to say, no, obviously I'm in media and I slip so seamlessly into it. So yes, I'm an entrepreneur, starting Pato Apparel, and that's my first entrepreneurial baby. But I find that I'm doing media so well. I first started the Entrepreneurial You as a radio show on Power 106 FM in Jamaica, and it lasted for 3 seasons. And then I'm now, it's now a podcast, and I'm talking to people all over the world already. It is in 76 countries, and that was just since March we launched. So I'm finding myself slipping, lovely, seamlessly into media, and also enjoying, enjoying. Let me see if I need to turn this thing up some. Oh, it was my fault because I'm like, why is this thing so dark? I'm talking on Facebook. Like, my screen was so dark, and now I just turned up the screen and now I can see myself. Yay! And okay. So right, slipping seamless into media and also loving it and stuff. So I hosted, and it was my first, because I'm on the committee for the 40th anniversary of church, and it was my first official hosting duty, and I must say I'm proud of myself. Like, like people were saying, because we had all the heads, the leaders of the United Church. I'm part of the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. So we had the General Secretary, the Deputy General Secretary. We had the chairman of different council, different regions, and of course, our keynote speaker was he's the president of the Victoria Mutual Group, and he's also a part of my United Church, not my particular church, but he worships at the as part of the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. And he was saying, "Oh my gosh, you could be doing this at 2 a.m. and you'll be fine." And yes, and even the video that was done, It was my, it was, I did the voiceover for the video. We had a video called the Journey of Faith, and I did the voiceover for that. And I realized how seamlessly I'm slipping into all these roles while I'm focused on, because my purpose, and I continue to say what my purpose is, life transformation through inspiration. And I'm an entrepreneur that inspires. I inspire through my podcast, through my book, through my books rather, radio show and speaking engagement and stuff. And yes, I took on that role to be one, to be the master of ceremonies. And I believe I did quite well. I have to be. I was confident in myself to know I did well, extremely well. As a matter of fact, it was my first time, and and the reviews came in and stuff. So that was my week, and I had a blast. But I believe with everything, and even with the conference that I did over these 4 days, let me tell you something. I pretty much tore my hair out. I was like at one point, like, oh my gosh, why did I take on this challenge? Why did I take on this task? This is just too much, right? I went through so many different emotions doing it. So I went from, oh my God, it's such a great idea. Nobody's doing this and I have to do it. Yay. And so knowing me, if I think something and within a few seconds, I know if it's going to work or not, or I know if it's something I should do or not, or whether I'm going to pursue it or not. And then okay, it's great. So yes, I'm going to pursue it. And I went and I started to do everything, the research, and said, yes, this is it. So I went from that to yes. And then I went into a moment of, oh my gosh, can I do this? Oh my gosh, what did I sign up to? Oh my gosh. And the word is out there because I have speakers confirmed, and the speakers are saying, yes, I'm with you on this, and I'm supporting you, even though a virtual conference is not something that I particularly would do, but I'm going to support you on this. And so I have all these speakers, trickling in slowly and fast. Well, not even slowly, quickly saying yes to me. At the end of it, we had 18 speakers, two of which came from our sponsors, which was JBDC and Yellow Jamaica. Of course, Brand Profit was also a sponsor, but they were not slated to speak. And my company, Pathway Apparel. Now, also, technically, I had 16 speakers outside of the sponsors. 16 speakers confirmed to speak at the conference. So what am I going to do? I have to have a conference. I cannot allow these people to say yes to me and then no conference, which means that I could never ever reach out to them again. And I'm like, can't have that, right? And so at one point, as if the sponsors weren't coming in, I'm like, oh my God, and like even the platform, the technological aspect of it, because I'm by no way a techie at all. So the technological aspect was a bit daunting. But I had great support from the company that I used. Oh my gosh, the founder is exceptional. He's exceptional. He gave tremendous support. Even times when I was getting edgy and anxious and stuff, he was just there. And I give thanks that I have that support. So all of that happened, and I'm grateful. I'm really grateful that I executed the conference. I mean, yes, there were glitches, but executed a conference with such excellence for a first time, something that was never done before in Jamaica here, and not only that, because people have done virtual conferences before, they do webinars, people have done expos before, all of that. But on this side of the hemisphere, nobody doing the hybrid of the two, which is a conference and the expo. And I thought, yeah, here's an opportunity. And I took it grabbed it with both arms, and it was done. And I felt accomplished at the end of it, like. And even to the point where I almost at the end of it felt like it was no big deal. Although I felt so accomplished, the paradox is I almost felt like, it was no big deal, because when I recognized at the end of it how seamlessly it went, and how pretty much, quote unquote, not to trivialize it, but how it was able to be executed in a very simple way, just by knowing, getting used to the technology and executing. Like, oh my gosh, it was really not much ado about nothing when I started to get anxious. It wasn't necessary. And it's another case in point. We don't need to get anxious for anything at all. And the word tells us that, the Bible tells us that. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and with prayer and supplication, make your requests be made known unto God. And so all I needed to do was just rest, be still, because he's with me. Once he gives you that vision, and I'm talking about my creator here, once he gives you that vision, he's going to make provision for it to happen and for it to be manifested and executed with such excellence events as well. And I thought, okay, so why was I really worried? There was no reason to be anxious. There was absolutely no reason. Looking back in retrospect, and so they say hindsight is always 2020 because there really was no reason to be anxious. So yes, that was like one of the highlights of my week was the meetup that I hosted, and also hosting the award ceremony at the Knutsford Court Hotel for my church. So all these three events that happened in this one week, I really feel like wow. So this week now, it's not like I'm not going to be doing anything, but I'm going to like a shift gear because I was coming up, especially to the conference. I was in high production mode. So I'm kind of because we need to understand our bodies and stuff and be use wisdom. So I intend this week now to let it be more like a getting things done, but the softer little things that I never get to touch over these many weeks. I'm just going to approach those little tasks that they're not really so urgent and important, but they still need to be done. So I'm going to take on those tasks this week. But I tell you, of all the things that happened, again, what put the icing on the cake for me was getting that gratitude journal because it was just so timely and so appropriate. I mean, I'll never forget that gift. And of course, they've signed it and everything. And last night I came home very late from hosting the awards because I dropped home my friend, two friends. I dropped them home, and then I came home like minutes after 11, and I just had to start writing in my gratitude journal. And of course, you know what the first entry was, that I'm so grateful for this journal. Like, yeah, that was my main thing. So I said earlier that I'm going to tell you why I came on at 5:30 instead of 6. And it's because a very good friend of mine, very talented friend, her name is John Richards Goff. She's I don't even know how to call this, ethno music something. I am not going to try and call it. It's a long something, and I don't have a title with me here written down. But she's a very good friend. She's a singer, very talented. She's all about using advocating and advancing for worship in our native language, which in our case is Jamaican, right? So she's launching her second album on Facebook Live this evening at 6. Her name is Joan Faith Richards Goff, and you can check her out at Come Make We Worship. That's the page. That's the name of the album. So I think the album is Come Make We Worship Part 2 because that album was released. The first album was very good. Some of the videos are off the chain. So I'm excited because she's been pumping this up, promoting it for over a couple weeks now. So I did tell her, I didn't even remember the event was live. So she asked me if I'm going to be popping in at, it was going to be online. And so she asked me if I was going to be popping in this evening, but I thought it was like a physical location. Like, no, no, no. After this week that I've had, there is no way I'm coming out of my house to attend any events. But I realize it's live. It's on Facebook Live. So I'm definitely going to be checking it out, and I encourage you, if you have some time on Facebook, it's Come Make We Worship. That's KOMMEK, the worship. So Come Make We Worship is the name of the album. So yeah, and it's good. I mean, if you're into Jamaica and Jamaicanness and Jamaicanism and everything, then I believe it's ideal. It's something that you'd want to check out and, to see what she's up to. I mean, she has followers from Nigeria, all over the world. This is somebody who has some amazing stories like myself, travel stories. We're born in the same month, June 6th. Her birthday is June 6th, mine is June 7th. It's like how we met was a story. I'll tell you that story maybe another time, not necessarily going to be boring right now. But it's pretty much, her first book was Got In. Oh, as a matter of fact, let me tell you the story, right? Because you're probably going to wonder, why did I mention it and not tell you about it, right? That's not cool. So, her first book is, well, the one she has now is God Incidents. When I was working at the Port Authority of Jamaica some years ago, it's customary at Christmas time, all the people that you do business with, they will give you a token or something. So the brokerage firm, custom brokerage firm, because I work with the Port Authority, and I did the whole, buying parts, procurement for the terminal, spare parts for the terminal, etc. And one of the the brokers that we work with, the custom brokers. I remember him giving me a copy. I think he gave a few of us in the office a copy of that book for Christmas. Coming, God incidences. I read the stories, right, and the stories like I knew this person because like a lot. She seemed a lot like me, going traveling a lot, and every time she travels, one drama. There's always some. I mean, she's gone all over the world. Um, yeah, like all over, really all over Africa, places of Africa, Europe, the Caribbean, um, US, etc., etc. She's traveled a lot and have some really amazing stories to tell. So I read it and like, oh my gosh, this person sounds like me. But I tell you, I kind of read it off because I read it in one night, pretty much. And my church was having a training, a praise and worship kind of training, because I used to be active on the praise and worship team. We're having a training, and in the training, this person, the trainer, is sharing some experiences and stuff. And as I listened to those experiences, they sounded eerily familiar. And I thought to myself, okay, this sounds like something I've read before in a book. So I looked up at her and I said, because I was wearing my Patois Parrot t-shirt, right? I looked up at her and I said, so are you the author of God Incidences? And she smiled and she says, yes. And she looks at me in on my shirt, and she said, are you the owner of Patois Parrot? And I said, yes. And like, we just met for the first time and we forget that we're in the middle of the training. She was coming up to the training. I was singing the training. And we just like totally forget that we're in the training, and I jumped up and I hugged her so much that she got whiplash from the hug, like seriously, whiplash. So that's how we met. So she is, and this a couple of years ago, amazing individual. So I encourage us to check it out. And yeah, so that's my week. That was. It's now 6:02, which means that she would have gone live 2 minutes ago. So I am going to, because I want to check her out. That's, like I said, that's why I decided to start a little earlier and stuff. So I will be back in another 2 weeks with any random thing. Like if you were following the show from the very beginning, you will recognize that we started out just focusing on inviting guests on. So I used to have a guest on for the hour, used from 6 to 7. But I was using an app called Be Live. You probably should know that it's still available. But of course, they were in the beta phase. Hi, Empress. What's up, girl? They were in the beta testing phase, so it was free then. But because the show is not yet sponsored, and I keep every week I tell you that there is so much opportunity here. Jamaicans.com page has over 100,000 followers, and it's highly engaged. So you have an opportunity for product placement right here. So if you want to come on board as a sponsor, so we can pay for the app to bring the stream, and I can bring guests from all over the world who are Jamaicans to talk to you, because the first two that we did happened. Of course, we can still use Be Live for about 20 minutes 2 times per week, but I don't want to have a guest on for longer than 20 minutes, right? But if you still want me to do that, bring a guest, a Jamaican from all over the world, and wherever in the world, find out what they're up to, I will do that again. Because it's like, but I just still want to come on and engage. So I thought that, until we get back to that structure, that format, I just come and share whatever is happening, whatever I feel that is on my heart to be shared with you. I come on and I share that. So yeah, it's the first time I'm actually dually broadcasting on Jamaicans.com Facebook page live, as well as on my personal Instagram page. So you're kind of checking out what's happening, right? I won't extend it to Twitter and the others. I'll just say, I need more light on me. Oh gosh, truth. But I thought I had enough light. All right, may always have light issues. I'm using this computer and Facebook. Thank you so much, Anthony. I appreciate you telling me that, because I look on my face and I look bright. We never did know that. I'm not bright. All right, so this is where I'm going to leave you. Before I do that, however, let me always say big up, and not big up to Xavier Murphy, for allowing me to be on this platform, and for what you've created. You've created something so significant for Jamaicans, both at home and especially abroad in the diaspora. And while I'm on the big ups here, I want to big up to all the persons who tune in over Instagram. And Empress Lovia with the whole Talk of Youth story. Of course, we tweeted that yesterday. Talk of Youth is amazing, and the youths, trust me, like this girl, this queen, this lady, she has so much passion for the young people in our country. It's tremendous, and really give shout out to you. Really give enough shout outs. Dr. Wayne, you tuned in. Everybody else, I can't necessarily see, your names and stuff. I problem on the phone. That on Instagram it's so much clearer. I don't know if I need to clear my camera, what I need to do on Facebook. But I'll figure it out eventually, right? I'll move back to my original location. Because clearly it was better for Facebookers. All right, so until next time, in another 2 weeks, I am Heneka Watkis-Porter. You can catch me on henekawatkisporter.com. You can check me out, of course, patwapara.com if you want to check out the clothing line. Check out my podcast, The Entrepreneurial You. Send me an email, henekawatkisporter@gmail.com. I'm all over Facebook, all over Instagram, all over Twitter. Peace and love. Have yourself a fantastic week. Be blessed. Love yourself. Walk good.